to the Mixorcist. Hey, how's it going, everybody? How's it going, Chris? How you doing, man?
EB, what's going on? Welcome to the Mixorcist, people.
Welcome to the Mixorcist. We got an extra special treat today. What were you going to say? We do.
Yeah, well, no, what I was going to say is in horror movies, the color green usually represents the supernatural. I mean, think about it.
Ooh.
Reagan McNeil spitting up that green pea soup right in the face of Father Karras.
Oh.
Right? I mean, that means that's a sign of possession. Who has green vomit? And then remember Nightmare on Elm Street? I want to say it's that moment where Freddy Krueger's like chasing this girl and he stops her. He's like, hey, Tina, watch this. And then he chops his fingers off while she watches. Like, what kind of lunatic does that?
Oh, like a crazy.
Who writes that? And I think the stuff that was squirting out of his hand was green.
Wes Craven, right? That's who.
That's right. And then there's the Reanimator, where green represents the magic elixir of life after death. Yes. So the question is today, is Acustica Audio's green the pea soup vomit in your face, or is it the reagent of life itself?
Oh,
let's find out and see. So, Eric, what do we know about this
plug? It could be both. Well, what we know about it,
could be both.
Yeah, well, we know a bunch about this plug. We know that it's based on the GML line of gear, the George Massenburg's Labs line of gear, which, if you're an audio engineer, you probably know who he is. He's credited with inventing the parametric EQ, did some early designs, I believe, for Soundtech, but then started GML Labs. And there's the GML 8300 EQ, which is really nice. I mean, you could master with that, but if you really want to go all out, you get the 9500, which is like uber expensive. There's switched pots, so there's a resistor for each frequency that you select, and there are a lot of them on each band. So there's a lot of bands, and the thing is like super clean. It's in the best mastering houses, and there's a compressor to go with it. So they have modeled all of this gear. Green 3's been out for a long time, but Green 3 was older technology. It was one of the earlier ones, and people have been dying for an update like all year. This has been the top. This is the thing, man. Like this is the one so let's I started putting it through its paces. I mean, let's get right to it, because I'm sure people want to see it, they want to hear it. Let's get a mix going, and I'll give it a go.
Share me up on Zoom, brother. Plastic bag.
So there's a good look at the EQ. Here's the compressor. Beautiful stuff. Let's take them off. I mean, it's not a bad mix already, but let's play around with it a bit. That sounds good no matter where I put it.
Totally.
So, I mean, wow.
That's pretty nice.
I got a little hot there. I heard some clipping and I didn't know where it was coming from. Now I see that there's these lights here. I think it let me know. But yeah, I mean, what's not to love it? But that was the high stuff I was playing with there, but I was going to play with the low, and then I heard that clipping. So, but it's enough to get an idea of it anyway. This thing just came out like this morning, so still getting used to it. The control link works well this time, though. I'm not finding the weirdness that the Aaron release had. The compressor I played with a little bit. I don't know if this particular track needs compression that much because, I mean, it was recorded on tape and slammed to tape, and maybe it even has, a bus comp on it. It may even have that. So, but it still was able to offer a little bit. The beauty of this compressor, it's actually two compressors built into one. So you've got a fast compressor and a slow compressor, and you can choose to engage either or both of them.
Nice.
And then you can mix between the slow and the fast. So, I mean, if we were going to compress this song, there isn't a lot of fast going on that needs control. Cause again, it was hit the tape. The transient content is not that huge. Right. But it might benefit from some more slow compression. So let me, dig in a little bit there.
Sure.
Yeah, you're tough. Yeah, you're tough. You got the juice, man. You got the stuff. Yeah, you're tough. Yeah, you're tough. You got it down and you got it hooked up. Damn one.
There.
See them all. You're standing tall, but you're gonna fall. Yeah, you're tough. Yeah, you're tough.
That's a lot. That's more than you'd ever do, but.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's still smooth and
yeah, you're tough.
Doesn't seem to be chopping up your transients too much.
I mean,
it definitely evened out the level, like really brought the ceiling down. But
yeah, I mean, it would be a case of dial in the best thing that you can and AB it with an on and off kind of volume matched a little bit and see if it's see if you've got something you like, see if it is better or not. But I'd say, with some of the stuff I get, it's all peaky and not really gelled together. There's a lot of transient stuff, and this thing would be just spectacular on that. And sometimes you get stuff that's just too dynamic, like you have to meet a certain standard, like for broadcast or something, and you have to compress it somehow. And this would be like a prime candidate.
A nice way of doing it without throwing too much character. Like, sometimes you want an SSL G style, gluey kind of aggressive compression or a Neve or something, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just want it to do the job of bringing up the loudness without really altering or inflecting anything on a mix. Mm-hmm. It feels like maybe this would be a tool to do that.
Absolutely. And that was the design parameter number one. The number one objective was a straight wire with gain, frequency control.
Leave no trace.
Mm-hmm. No trace. I mean, some of the Nebula developers have done this unit before, and part of the thing was the harmonics. And it's like one of the developers says, I didn't bother including harmonics. It doesn't add that much. This thing is so clean. This is just like, it just affects your frequencies. We're looking at the compressor now, but the EQ, it affects the frequencies that you want, and that's it. And it is super accurate. I pulled up like an analyzer here, and I'm looking at the curves. Nebula solved they used to have a small issue with a little bit of ripple in the low end on some of their stuff. Nothing you'd notice like ever, but that's solved. But I mean, look at these beautiful curves. There's a shelf. That is clean. And you can peek at. It'll go really narrow if you want. So if you need the surgical dip, I mean, for an analog EQ, obviously digital will go narrower than this, but this is about as good as it got in the analog kingdom. Cut. I mean, it's just, I don't know, why listen to it when you could look at it, right?
Yeah, that's right. Mix with your eyes.
All right, anyway, I just wanted to, there is a preamp on here too, so. Okay. Is there a preamp? Maybe there is. I don't know what it does yet, because again, I don't think that there's a lot of harmonics going on in this gear, but maybe it'll just give you that little subtle extra je ne sais quoi, right? That might otherwise be missing. So I've got one other quick classical thing here, which is like horror movie soundtracks. So I figure why not, right? And I've already treated it. In this case, it just needed some EQ. Mm-hmm. Let me play it without. You'll hear what I mean. I'll just jump around because we don't want to take too long until we get back to listening to it. The strings sound all right to me. Then the treble starts. There's this drill sound. That's okay. And then I mean, it's good. It's big and bassy, but I think there's like I'm hearing some masking around the upper lows, maybe like 200. There's that breathing, which is cool. Not a lot of brightness though either, so I think, yeah, that metal sounded pretty distant. So let's pop this on, where I've taken care of both of those things. And listen to the on. I'll turn it on and off, and just listen how you're just hearing the frequencies that you want, but not a lot of phase or artifacts. Off. On. And that's 2 dBs. It'll go up to 6. Here's 6 on the high end. That's a 10K.
Mm-hmm. Lots of air in there.
Lots of air.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shelf. That sounds pretty good right now. It might be too much when other sounds come in, but it's just really nice, you know? Say we wanted some more sub, like what would happen then? This thing will go down to 19 hertz, by the way, if you ever feel the need for that. Probably that's more like for technical dipping or something.
Yeah.
So 19 hertz, like I don't even know if you'd hear it. That's just too low. Let's crank that up to like 40, 50. Oh, I clipped.
Every time you come in here, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me. Which, should we try this? You want to try this EQ here? This is the Green 4 EQ MX. Should we give this a go and see what it can do? This is on an acoustic guitar. This is an RE20, and I've used this track before, but it's an acoustic guitar in a terrible room with an RE20, and let's just see what it can do. I'm hearing a little more wood than I want to, and of course the RE20 is going to be lacking in shine, but we should take EQ pretty well. So let's see what we got here. We got our levels, and then we have our hertz, right? So the mid band, maybe we could look at, I don't know, let's start in the 2s. Let's see what kind of magic we can get starting at 7 in the high, and let's see what we can do. I might try that low pass there, or that low band as well. So this is hertz times 100. So this is like the 200 hertz area.
Yeah.
Is that a 2.3? So again, you know, as many plugins suffer from these days, the instrumentation's a little hard to read, but let's have a listen to see what it actually does. I guess I have to kick the bands in, do I?
Yeah. Nice.
Well, that is pretty sterile in terms of neutrality, right? This isn't really adding any flavors as much as it's nicely boosting that frequency.
Right.
Let us try again. So let's try without. With. Let's see what happens when we pull out. Ooh. That's probably not the right frequency. Okay, let's back it up. I like what that's doing. So I'd want to hear that in the context of the mix, but what I hear happening there is really like no phase anomalies whatsoever, even when you crank the thing. And then let's hear it in the context of a couple of other tracks here and see what she does. All right, so I've accentuated. Let's listen without. Whoops, a little bit of a sampling delay there.
Yeah.
In. All right, I still need some work to let the other instruments shine through, but it really helps clean up and narrow like a nice focus, nice tight focus on that acoustic guitar. And then why don't we have a listen for the compressor and see what it'll do on those, see what it will do on that acoustic as well. All right, so let's try the slow compressor here with let's do moderate 6. And then we'll adjust the threshold to taste, and then everything else is makeup, gain, or mix. So there's really it doesn't look like there's any speed controls here. What do we got? Output, we got blend. Attack and release are here to the left. Okay, good. So let's have a listen. Without. There's a little bit of a noticeable transient taming there, I think, if you're hearing it. Let's see what the fast can do. And then we might try and blend them both. So let's take the slow off.
Now, the manual tells me that when you engage the fast, then the whole release speeds up for both, like the fast and slow, or something like that. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I just read it really, really fast, really quick. I haven't come across the real unit. I've used the EQs, but not never the compressor. I don't know if I've ever even seen one in person before. So.
Wow. Okay, let's keep listening and see what this does on fast. Is without.
Oh yeah.
Does a real nice job of leveling the dynamics, and it's really hard to hear it working. Like with some fidgeting, maybe we can make that pump, but to be honest, that's a pretty gentle compressor. Let's throw both on together, shall we?
Yeah.
Put both fast and slow, and now on the meters, we should see them both light up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now you can hear some serious. Nice. This isn't hitting my CPU too hard, but it's definitely there's a little bit of latency in the GUI. So my take is that this would be great for controlling without imparting character in a more clinical way. I'm not sure that on a mix bus, for example, maybe that's what we try next, is throwing this just right on an existing track. If you're down to give it a go.
Oh yeah. While you're doing that, I mean, I guess I did catch from the manual that this was modeled after human hearing psychoacoustics perception. So it was the world's first psychoacoustic dynamics processor.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, psycho anything is pretty great, but psychodynamics, I mean, come on.
You should make a movie about psychodynamics, I think.
But it was weird. There was a point you were messing with it. And I'm like, are we going to look back at this and it wasn't even engaged? Is this one of those moments? But I don't know. I think it was, dude. I think it was engaged.
No, it was engaged.
It's just that's how smooth it is.
I'll certainly want to hear the compressor, maybe even the EQ. Like you demoed the other EQ. I demoed the like the mix level one, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you were demoing the 9000 series and I was demoing the 8000 series. But let's just take a listen to what this does. Just to verify this is a compressor here. And just bear with, because I notice when you engage and disengage it, it can be a little bit on the choppy side.
Yeah.
Let's have a listen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's bring the ratio down. Make that a little more. Let's do without. My bad. I mean, that's a pretty, it's flattening stuff, but again, it's not really inducing any pumping. We'll agree it's engaged, right? It's not on the slow setting. It's not engaging any pumping at nice low ratios. Again, a really great way to control transients and volume without certainly, you're thinking back to things like Waves L1 that added those algorithmic frequency shifts or changes to try and maximize loudness. There's none of that here. This is a compressor, very much. Not only is it clinical, but it's clean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's making making the sausage, but it still resembles the original bits that went into it.
It really is.
So
grinding it up and spitting it back up, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
In a very good way.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you could pummel. You could take all the dynamics out of something, and it wouldn't pump or distort.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure you probably can make that distort and pump. I did. I mean, well, it was more of a clipping issue, but and it may not have been that unit doing it either. Might have been the clipper I had right after it. Who knows?
Oh, could be.
Could have been.
What's the theory on the difference in application between this guy?
Yeah.
And the one that you demoed a couple minutes ago?
I believe the difference in the original analog units were that that guy with the colored knobs, the 8300, I don't believe had the detented pots.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you could get it with those. So I think those are continuous potentiometers, whereas the 9500, they've got a resistor sewn in, like soldered into every position for every knob. So it's just, I've seen the inside and it's just so intricate. It's like, they charge like $15,000 US or something for them now. I mean, they're
insane, but we expect the same curves though.
It's like building a car or something. There's that many parts inside, right? Like,
do we think that it would be the same curves?
I think that the curves and the technology would be very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily the same exact components, but I think if you had the two side by side, they would definitely be real close. I mean, the mastering houses that can't afford it will buy. They'll just get the one with the switches and the detents, and I don't know. So I don't have enough. I've never heard them side by side. So
I'm just curious. Again, a good
I
read of the
imagine there's
manual.
some consistency though between those two.
We definitely wanted to get this out to you before you have to make a buying decision, so you could at least listen to a touch of it. And of course, I went and dragged the wrong EQ.
Oh shit.
Let's fool around with some of the bands on a full mix, just like you did here with this EQ. Okay, well now we're getting into the ugly. Now we can actually do some damage.
Oh, so it does sound different then.
Yeah, that was right in the 5s, which is not a great place to add a lot of top. Let's start maybe around 12 and see what it can do. That's a little more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try taking out. Listen to what happens when you pull the mids. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So that can get nice and ugly. That can get geez.
You're at the
that
maximum.
Can get nice and ugly.
You're at the maximum Q setting, right? So that's a really narrow. Really narrow.
Where's the Q? Oh, this is the Q setting here.
Yeah, that's like.
I thought this was their little modifier.
No, that's
okay.
That's narrow. That's notch.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try a little more of a wide boost and see what happens here. Oh, that's nice. Interesting. Let's take it out.
Yeah, just
put it back in. So those are some aggressive settings, but for demonstration purposes, you can see those are really non-harmonic. Like there's no character addition there. It is straight up. Mm-hmm. It's doing what it says it's doing, right? What's on the label is what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So again, for clinical fixes, but really smooth. Like you compare this to something like the BrainWorks Digital, which is similarly very clinical, very accurate. You can adjust the Q, maybe even more so on this one, but it's just a little less lively, right? These are really nice, clean curves that to me are musical.
Yeah. And it does sound
but not
different.
Character-y.
It sort of sounds different. Like if you had this up next to the BrainWorks, and even if you matched the curves on an analyzer, there would still be something different sounding about this, just because the technology is different. So,
I think so too. So I'm goofing with these in a way that you, of course, wouldn't in a mix. I just want you to get a flavor for what it's doing tonally, and I like it. I like this EQ, and so we think that the other one's probably the same, just with mastering type detents, and maybe the range is perhaps a bit limited. Sometimes a mastering version of an EQ will have you can only go 3 or 6 dB as opposed to 12.
Yeah. I think it was 6. I think you can go up to 6 on that one. And you can go down to 19 hertz if you ever need that. Because I don't think they have a high pass, so I think that would be it if you needed one, right?
Right.
I don't know.
So just some notes from me. This is my first time using it, so it's the interface takes a few minutes to learn.
Oh,
it's a big download. I want to say it was 10 gig.
Yeah,
which was pretty scary.
Yeah, I think I was clocked in like definitely over 4 or 5 for me. It was probably.
I thought I saw all the components were around 2 gig, 2.5 gig per plugin, and there's 4 of them.
Oh, there's 4? I only got 2. Did you download the frequency packs?
I downloaded, there was 4 things when you install it. There's 4 things to install.
There was? No, I only installed 2. I installed 2. Okay. But there are frequency packs, and then there's also the trial versions, right? So
I don't think I downloaded the trials. Anyway, be warned, it's one of the larger plugins. Certainly it's going to take up a little space. And again, in performance, could be my computer with everything I'm running right now, but the GUI's a little clunky. So it was a little laggy on my computer. Could be my machine. But I like the sound of it. So for good, every once in a while, you don't want to add a ton to a track. Maybe you've got a really nice pre with a great transformer or a tube set in there. So you got a good sound. All you want to do is clean it, but you don't want to ruin it or spoil it with more tube saturation or more transformer simulation. You just want something clinical and clean and accurate. So this would be great for classical, great for acoustic. It'd be great just about anywhere, really. But I can see it having a place in a mix where you don't want to make things worse by imparting a character curve to it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What do you think, Eric? What would you say? When should people use this?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you need, exactly just like what you said, it's you need to adjust the frequencies, but you don't really want to do anything else to it. It's like I'm hearing a problem at this frequency. I need more of it, or I need this frequency dipped a little, and that's what I need.
Right.
And I don't want to screw anything else up, because of course that's when you get into mastering territory, because you're trying to make some subtle changes without messing with the whole thing, right? So, and this is the tool that'll allow you to do it, and it's very it's a highly sophisticated tool. I mean, that's why it's one of the big one of the top choices in mastering houses.
It's rare to find a clinical EQ that it's hard to make it sound bad at the same time. You know, we think about a Pultec, like it's hard to make a Pultec sound awful. Mm-hmm. Whereas with a standard parametric, you can really mess things up. This, to me, the curves, at it, even when you jack them up, that's always the place I look first, is what happens when you gut it, or when you max out the gain. What's it doing? And I didn't hear a lot of real nastiness there, unless, as we discovered the hard way, you got to keep your Q. Watch your Q control here.
Yeah, that's
because this looked like one of those SH mod, those SH mod switches they have in their other plugs. I assume that's what this was.
You got at the top and the bottom, you got the shelves at the other end too. So that's how you get the shelves. So, and then, I pulled up the analyzer, because again, it's so clean. Unless you got things cranked, it's like, am I hearing, is that narrower or wider or just more? Or it's a kind of ghostly EQ in a lot of ways, right? Like it conceals itself, right? So,
yeah, seriously good for not butchering, but really cleaning up, kind of like the show Dexter. After a good kill scene, he's got all the plastic up so you can just clean everything up and walk away.
That's right.
That's kind of like what this plug is.
That's right.
So anyway, we just downloaded it today. Again, first time using it, but guys, I hope that gives you a quick walkthrough of what you're getting. By all means, download the demo though and check it out for yourself. We're going to learn more about it as we play with it in the coming days and weeks for sure.
Absolutely. Loving it.
All right, dude.
Another fine addition to the ever-growing Acustica arsenal. And
because remember, guys, when it comes to plugins, possession is a good thing.
All right, what else?
All right, my man. What do you say?
All right, rock and roll, man. Have a good one. See you all next time.
Yeah, see you. Thanks for tuning in to the Mixorcist, everybody.